Okay, yesterday we began the sugya of the kavanis of the Sriya, the Shalmei Chagigah, the Shalmei Simcha. We spoke about what exactly the funds that are required to go ahead and buy them. We said that a davar shebechova, something that is a chiyuv to bring, something that you have to bring, can only come from chulin money. You can't go ahead and use ma'aser sheni money to buy it. Okay? So therefore, the oilis re'iyah, which is a chiyuv, only can come from chulin. The Shalmei Chagigah seemed to have been a machloikis between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. Beis Shammai said from chulin, Beis Hillel said ma'aser. So we're going to pick it up over there on Ches Amid Aleph. We got 2 lines from the top. Omamar. Ches Amid Aleph, 2 lines from the top. Omamar. Omamar means we're going back over the brisa that the Mar said. Beis Hillel oimim min ma'aser. Beis Hillel says the Shalmei Chagigah, right? The Shalmei Chagigah of Pesach and all other Yom Tovim. The Shalmei Chagigah of Pesach for who did all the other Yom Tovim. The reason we picked up Pesach, why, is because as opposed to the Shalmei Chagigah's Yudalid, which is brought from Maisa, so we dafka picked out there's 2 Chagigahs. You want to eat the current Pesach when you're satiated, so you bring a Chagigah's Yudalid on the 14th day. That could be bought from Maisa Sheni money, but the Chagigah's Tesvav that can only be bought from a chulin because it's a chayv. So now we're quoting that. Beis Shammai said, Beis Hillel said it could be Maisa. Fred the Gemara, an obvious question. Beis Hillel oimim min Maisa. Amai, why could you go ahead and spend Maisa Sheni money on the Shalmei Chagigah? After all, it's a chayv, and Amai davar shebechayvahu. It's a chayv. You have to bring it. Since you have to bring the Shalmei Chagigah, we should apply our rule of thumb, which is what you have to bring it from what from chulin money, right? Mm-hmm. Guys, you understand? We spoke about yesterday. It's like mice with tuition. In other words, you have to pay it anyway. It's like paying your taxes with a rebate. Like you have to pay it anyway. It's like that's the way it is. Says the Gemara. Any animal that's a chayv only comes from chulin. So we have a great kasha on Beis Hillel. So Ula says a word that we should get accustomed to because the rest of the daf will be using this word, b'toifel. Teifel to me would mean added onto. Article touched it as a supplement. In other words, you can't use solely meiser money. You can't use solely meiser money. You could add it to the chulin. Beis Shammai says only chulin. Beis Hillel says teifel. To the chulin money, you could add meiser. And we'll see in a second exactly how that works. But that, again, we just want to define it. We wanted to find it. When Beis Hillel said meiser, he didn't mean exclusively meiser. He meant teifel, a supplementary meiser to the chulin. That's what he meant. Supplementary meiser to what? To chulin. Now, there's a machlokes exactly how that works. Now, so Amar Ula, b'teifel, it's speaking b'teifel. Now, Chizkiah Amar, teiflin behema lebehema, vein teiflin mois lemois. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, teiflin mois lemois, vein teiflin mois. Okay, outside guys, look at me. I know I have to, it's the first day of Yontif. I have to bring what? A Shalmei Chagigah. I have to use chulin money. Good? I can use chulin money. Now, let's say for whatever reason, I have to bring more Shalmei Chagigah. I got a lot of eaters. I got to bring more. Good? Says Chizkiah, you can bring your first animal from the chulin money, and the subsequent animals that you can go ahead and spend maisa. You don't mix them together. You don't have to mix and match. You had this animal is from chulin. I'm yaitza. Now I'm bringing supplementary Shalmei Chagigah because of the size of my family. That you can spend the money. So that's the teifel. You can supplement the original chulin, that one animal, with other animals. That's Chizkiah. Let me talk. Rabbi Yochanan disagrees. Rabbi Yochanan says you can't go from animal to animal. What you can do is you could take the money, mix it together, and buy a bigger animal. So let's say the animal costs $100. You can get an ox for $100, and you can get one for $200. You give $100 of chulin, and then the other $100 would be what from meiser. So let's see the words again. Says the Gemara. So b'teifel. So teifel means. Again, the question was, how could you go ahead and use only meiser for a chayv? And the answer is, you're not using it only for a chayv. You're supplementing your chulin. But again, it starts off with chulin. Chizkiah, how do you start off with chulin? Teifel behema lebehema. The first animal you can bring from chulin, and the subsequent animals we bought from meiser. There ain't toifel mois lemois, but to mix them together to buy one animal, guys. Mois means one animal. No, Rabbi Yochanan says no. Toifel mois lemois. In fact, you could go ahead and mix together and buy one big animal. However, being toifel behema, you cannot add one behema to another behema. Let's see Rashi over here, guys. Let's see Rashi a few lines down. Chizkiah amar behema behema. Im yesh le oichlin harbe. If you have many eaters. Sipuk behema achas. You don't have enough for one animal. Yavi achas l'chagigah min achulin. Bring one animal from the key from chulin. V'hashar min meiser. Now, and all the rest from meiser. Now, here's the kasha, guys. Shalmei simcha. Can you bring from meiser or chulin? Shalmei simcha. Okay, I'm glad you all noticed. So I'll tell you from meiser. Meiser. Shalmei simcha from Maisa. Again, that's the kimus v'simach b'chagecha. So now, I don't understand much. I got a lot of eaters. It's the first day of Yantif. So what did you just tell me? I'm bringing a bunch of Shalmei Chagigas. Why don't you say what? The first one is a Shalmei Chagigah, and all the subsequent ones will be Shalmei Simcha. And every Shalmei Simcha comes from Maisa. So what kind of teretz is this, right? That like Chizkiah, right? So Rashi is coming to answer that question. How do you know the subsequent animals are also Shalmei Chagigah and not Shalmei Simcha? The Afal piece says Rashi, Shekulan Abois B'Yom Rishon Shem Chagigah Aleim. That's it, guys. That's it. Anything that's bought day one has a Shem Chagigah. Shalmei Simcha would be the Chalamoid and the last day of Yontif. But the first day, any shlomim that's bought, all have a Shem Chagigah. And therefore, it's a chiddush that even though they have a Shem Chagigah, you could bring it with my some money and you don't need chulin money. So that's type. Let me just finish the Rashi, right? Alayim kvar yotzi the chayav b'rishon min achulin. You yotzi the chayav the first animal with chulin, and then subsequently you can bring ma'isa. Yeah, Yankel, what do you want to say?
So conscious of this, the first animal is a chayav, and afterwards like hidden mitzvah.
Not really. No, it's not hidden mitzvah. It's a Shalmei Chagigah.
But the Shalmei Chagigah, because if I want to buy a better animal for Shalmei Chagigah, right? Let's say
you're buying separate animals. These are separate animals, not one animal.
Because Lemaisa, when it comes to Maisa, if I buy an estrich,
I don't know if this is din of hidden in an animal. I don't know if this is din of hidden. I don't think it does. It never says it.
Because Maisa, if I buy an
estrich, Hisnol the fun of a mitzvah, right? You look at Rashi in multiple places, and what comes to mind is Baba Kamadaf Tesla and base. If you go ahead and look at there, he just says Hisnol the fun of a mitzvah, right? Zekeli van veyu, sukkah no, lulav no, estrich. Never says animal. Never says animal. You have a fat animal, but again, it's not.
I think the halacha is that if an estrich I can't buy for mice, but if I buy a better estrich, then it's different. I can buy for mice, right?
I don't. It could be. Again, it could be. Okay, but anyway, so what are we saying over here, guys? What?
This is about having enough so that everyone has what to eat.
Yes.
That's why. It's different than that's.
I know that's.
What about the Pesach?
What? The Yudalit is before. That's on Pesach, and it's earlier. This is speaking on Tesvav. This is Tesvav. This is Tesvav.
We're calling Shalmei Chagigah on the first night, and we're eating and have more company, more guests. That would be the Shalmei Simcha, but it's called Chagigah.
No, it's all Shalmei Chagigah. Anything bought on day one, it's not at night, Hesh. You bring it on Tesvav during the day. A carbon can't be bought at night. You bring it during the day. You're mixing up your Dalit with carbon Pesach. No, this is speaking. It's speaking the first day of Sukkot, the first day of Pesach. Again, you have multiple eaters, right? You're going to bring multiple kabbanis. They will all have the Shem Chagigah, and Beis Hillel is mechadesh that after the first one, the expenditure is from chulin. All the rest can be from ma'aser. That's a chiddush. But again, you hear the nuance of since it's the first day, it's Shalmei Simcha Chagigah, because with Shalmei Simcha there's no chiddush whatsoever. Shalmei Simcha is of course brought with ma'aser, right?
That wouldn't work on your dollar on Chagigah's your dollar. That wouldn't work because that's a chayv to everyone to be al soiva.
That's not a chayv. No,
the Shalmei the Chagigah's your dollar is because everyone should eat al soiva.
So therefore, what do you spend on it?
I can't pay for myself. Chagigah's your dollar ever. Any of that.
It's a Mefurish Gemara not like you.
Right, but how is that possible?
It's a Mefurish Gemara light like you. It's not a chiyuv. The chiyuv is the carbon Pesach, right? Again, is the carbon a chiyuv?
The carbon a chiyuv?
No. Okay, so in other words, let's say you had enough in the carbon Pesach. You wouldn't have to bring it at all. It's not a chiyuv, Yankel. And you're making. It's not a chiyuv. It's clearly not a chiyuv. No, there's a chiyuv to bring the carbon, and there's a mitzvah to eat the carbon al soiva. There's no chiyuv to go ahead. It's a site chelik in the mitzvah. Okay, you guys are good?
One question, can I ask you a question? According to Rabbi Yochanan.
Everyone who comes to share all the time can ask questions.
Okay, then I won't ask.
Okay, may. I'm sorry, may.
According to Rabbi Yochanan, is there any rule about a ratio of how much you can bring from Meiser money compared to what you have to bring from Chulin? Can you bring one pruta of Chulin and $10,000?
No, you'd have. I guess you'd have to be like more kesef. It would be like the normal amount, like the 2 mois according to Beis Hillel. That's the minimum amount. Is the minimum amount. 2 mois, the minimum amount according to Beis Hillel. Yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted Beis Hillel. 2 mois would be the minimal. Okay, very good. So now, 2 shittas now. We have Teuflin, which we again Teuflin separate animals, Chagigah. Rabbi Yochanan, no, you can't have separate animals, one animal, but in the animal, you can go ahead and add some money to go ahead and make it a bigger animal when you have a lot of vidas. Now, we have a brisa that substantiates both. So now we're going from the Amoroic level to the Tanoic level. Good? Tanya Kavasi de Chagigah, Tanya Kavasi de Rabbi Yochanan. Tanya Kavasi de Rabbi Yochanan. The pasuk says Misas. It says by Shavuos. Vasisa chag Shavuos l'Hashem Elokecha, Misas nidvas yodecha. Now, what does Misas mean? Some we're going to see it means chulin. We're going to see it means money. It means cash. That's the riot, guys. It means cash. So what do you see? Teuflin only with Misas, with cash. Melamed she'adam maybe chayvasle min achulin, that you can bring money, you bring yechia from chulin. Uminayin shem ratzol la'arev, that if you want to mix, you mix. Now, what are you mixing, guys? You can't mix animals. That's not mixed. Money you could. Animals are not mixed. Animals are recognizable as 2 separate animals. So when it says ma'arev, what is it speaking about? Cash. So there's your raya when it says ma'arev, that it must mean cash, and that's the brisa. That's a raya to Rabbi Yochanan that Teuflin is ma'os ma'isa with ma'os chulin. Guys, good. Tamadloima kasher yivrach Hashem Elokecha, and you kasher Hashem benches you. Hashem gives you a lot of money. In other words, He gave you a lot of. Not money, He gave you a lot of crops. And what did you do? You spent money on the crops, and you had to bring up to Yerushalayim, you spent money. That's Ma'aser Sheni. Now, Tanya Kavase de Chagigah. We have a brisa that's a right to Chagigah that you can bring. You don't bring money, but you bring animals. You don't bring money, but you bring animals. Misas Malamich other maybe Chayvase min achulin. Beisham Yomim Yom Rishon min achulin. Mikan ve'elach min ha'maiser. The first day from chulin. Afterwards min ha'maiser. Good. So that l'chayri is speaking about a Shalmei Simcha. Ubeis Hillel Aimrim, Achila Rishoina min achulin. The Achila Rishoina on the first night is from chulin. Here's Uriah. Mikan ve'elech. Even on the first day, you can bring another animal. Min ha'maiser. Again, one more time. This is the raya to Chagigah, the 2 separate animals. Beis Hillel Aimrim, Achila Rishoina, the initial Achila on Tesvav of the animal, which is what we call the Chagigah, min hachulin. Mikan ve'elech, from the first day and onward, and you bring the other animals the first day, and if it's what the first day, what do we call it? A Chagigah, Shalmei Chagigah, min ha'maiser, and that's the raya to Chagigah that Teuflin is animal to animal. How are we doing, guys? Good. Now, continuing the brisa, the Shar Kol Yemos HaPesach, all the other days of Pesach Chol HaMoed, Adam Yoytze Yidei Chavasa b'Maiser Behema. A person can be Yoytze Skiv at Maiser Behema. Maiser Behema, guys, you would go ahead and you would bring your animals that were born that year, you put them in a corral. Every 10th animal that would come out, you take a stick with red paint and you would hit it on the back. That animal is kedusha. It's called a Maiser Behema. It's similar to a bachar. You bring it up to your shleim and you eat it. If it gets a mum, you're good. But again, that's called Maiser Behema. That's called Maiser Behema. So you could be Yoitza, your Shalmei Simcha, with Maiser Behema. In other words, your Chiyuv of V'samachta b'chagecha to eat meat on Yontif, you could be Yoitza with Maiser Behema. You can bring it, even though it's a carbon. No problem. Go ahead and you be Yoitza Yechiyev. Now, now, beyond of my time alloy. Now, why the first day not, guys? Why can't you be Yoitza the first day? So I'm Rav Ashi Dilma Asi Lasure B'Yontif. The EF shall Lasa B'Yontif Mishum Sakarta. If we let you use it on Yontif, fellas, and not Chol HaMoed, you may come to take off Meiser on Yontif. What's the problem with taking off Meiser on Yontif? Is you'll be going ahead and coloring the animal. You're not like Sevilla Tzad Sevilla is a tolda of I think it is Tzavea. That's what it is. So you're not allowed to put paint on a dye on an animal. So even on Yontif. So therefore, we don't let you eat the Ma'aser Behema on Yontif unless you go ahead and take Ma'aser of your animals on Yontif. Tosfos asks a great kasha. Can you take Ma'aser off from your crops on Shabbos or Yontif? No. Taking mana, right? You're mitaking mana. So why does it say?
Why do you need to die? It's taking
Okay.
money with
Well, I'll tell you a better reason. That's the Raisa. The right is the Raisa. The other one's the Rabbana.
taking money to Rabbanan.
It's a tikkun Rabba. It's the Rabbana. No, tikkun one is the Raisa. That tikkun one is the Rabbana, right? But a beautiful pshat with simplicity. If you have truma and you don't separate, if you have what's called tevel, that's untithed crops. If you don't separate it, you can't eat it. You're able to eat. It does not pshat, I can't eat for my animals, take off Ma'aser Behema. There's a mitzvah to take off Ma'aser Behema, but I can still eat my animals beforehand. So it's not even mitakin anything. It's mitukin. It's mitukin. It is mitukin. In other words, even if you didn't go take a Ma'aser Behema, you'd be able to eat the animals. So therefore, you can't give that reason. It doesn't apply. By crops, you can't eat the tevel till you take off the truma. So you're being mitakin the food to eat it. By here, if you have a bunch of animals, even if you didn't take off the Ma'aser, you'll be able to eat it. So therefore, you had to come up with a different reason, and that reason is what is you're going to paint. Okay, but so far we've held serve. We have two different shittas of Teuflin. Again, let's just recap. We have base Hillel's pshat. When it says that the Shamei Chagigah comes from Meiser, it doesn't mean solely from Meiser because it's a chiyuv. Anything that's a chiyuv, what has to be from chulin. So what do you do? It means you supplement the Meiser. How that's accomplished is machlokes Amoraim, and subsequently it's machlokes Tanoim because we have brises that substantiate both Amoraim. Rabbi Yochanan says that what you go ahead take money and you can go ahead take the chulin money, take Meiser money, make a bigger pot and buy a bigger animal, and however go from animal to animal you can't do. According to Chagigah, you can't mix the money, but you could go from the first animal would be bought from chulin money, and the subsequent animals on the first day, which we have a din of Shamei Chagigah, could be bought from Meiser money. So now those are the mitzias of the Gemara. Very nice Gemara. Okay, says the Gemara Vayta. My mashmadai misas lishna the chulin who they brought a raya from misas that are lishna the chulin that the animal is chulin or the money is chulin. Achashverosh placed a tax on the people. Now look at there's a Tosfos over here. Second Tosfos in the bottom. Guys, if you have a choice to get a source from the Torah or a source from the Nevi'im and Kesufim, you're always going to go with the Torah, correct? So says Tosfos, Vayosam HaMelech Achashverosh mas, Avol yilachol mas va'avducha. They'll be for you a servant and serve you. You'll be an indentured servant. Right? The hani lav mois mishtaminon eloloshin avdus ba'alma. That's misas, guys. Is a lotion of servitude. It's going on a person. We need a raya that's going on gelt. Therefore, they brought the raya from Achashverosh rather than from the Torah proper. Okay, gishmak. Yisrael yotzin yidei chavason. Now, if you have a chiyuv of a samachta b'chagecha, if I would go ahead and I would have, let's say, labrias during the year, I made a neder. Bez Hashem, I'm going to go up bli neder. If I go up to Yerushalayim bli neder, I'm going to bring 5 shlamim. So I yontif, I bring my Shamei Chagigah, I bring my Olis Re'iyah, I have Chalam Moed. I have 5 animals to bring. Those are animals that is a neder. I made a neder. I'm going to bring him. You don't have to make a shalmei simcha. You can be yoytzi yechiyav of samachta b'chagecha v'achilas basar v'karbin with these animals. That's what we're saying. Says the Gemara. Tanabanan. The samachta b'chagecha the rabbis kol minei smachos l'simcha. All minei smachos l'simcha. All types of blood carbonates. Nikan amru chachamim. Yisrael yoytzi yidei chavasle b'nedar v'nedavais. Yisrael can be yotzei the chiyav with the shlamim of a neder or nedava. A neder is a person said harei olai, and the nedava he said harei zu. This particular animal. Ube ma'aser behema. You can be yotzei chiyav of what of v'samachta b'chagecha with ma'aser behema. We mentioned that. The kahanim b'chatas v'asham. The kahanim they get the chatas v'asham. They could be yotzei the chiyav of v'samachta b'chagecha by eating the chatas v'asham. Ube b'char. The kohen gets the b'char. If it doesn't have a mum, he could be yotzei chiyav with that. Ube chazav v'shoik. every shlamim, the kohen gets the front foot and the chest. He could be yotzei ski of avat b'samachta b'chagecha with these kabbanas. Yochel af ba'oifis u'menachos. I might think he could use poultry or menachos. I might think right or carbs, right? Menachos, right? Talmud loymar b'samachta b'chagecha on the base. It says v'samachta b'chagecha misha Chagigah ba mehem yotzei elu shein Chagigah mehem. Now, guys, it says by the korban Chagigah. Guys, look at the top Rashi. Yotzei elu shein Chagigah ba mehem. The Chagigah chelev k'siv ba. By Chagigah, it says the lashon of fat. Lo yolin chelev chagi. Do not leave over the chelev of my korban Chagigah. So therefore, it can't be an oif because there's no fat by oif. And certainly it can't be a mincha because there's no fat by mincha. Therefore, you know it has to be what? An animal. Therefore, you know it has to be what? An animal. That's the mitzvah of simcha. That's v'samachta b'chagecha, and we learn out from the fact that what? That it has fat. Rashi Amar v'samachta nafka. He doesn't learn from the chagecha. He learns from the word v'samachta. Again, according to the first opinion of the Chachamim, they said from v'samachta b'chagecha the word chagecha. Misha Chagigah ba, the key word, the stress on the word Chagigah. Rav Ashi says the stress is on the word v'samachta. Yotza elu she'emim simcha. As we said earlier, there's no simcha. Bird and menachas don't satiate. Basa satiates. A good steak. You go. Let's say you go to a good siyum in a restaurant. So you have a person who orders the steak and a person who orders the chicken and a person who orders the fish. So the one guy is normal, one guy is problematic, and one guy is very sick. Okay, you'll fit in the blanks, right? But I'm saying that meat is meat. And that's the bottom line, right? Yes, food critic, yes.
I wasn't doing.
Yeah.
Turn around. You give me trouble.
Yeah. Okay.
Still nervous, huh? Popeyes with the bun.
Okay. Anyway, Louisiana. Okay. So so he says the samachta. In order to be yotze v'samachta, simcha, I felt it has to be what? It has to be a korban that simcha and the so therefore. Now the question is, what does he use the v'chagecha for? Since he used the v'samachta, what does he do with the word chagecha? Rav Ashi learns the din of simcha only of meat only from the word samachta. Hi b'chagecha my avid. What does he do with the v'chagecha? Hu l'chedrav Daniel bar Katina. He uses it for the din of Rabbi Chanina bar Katina. Rabbi Chanina bar Katina marav. Minayin shein noisin nashim b'moed. How do you know you can't get married in a cholamoid? Shenemar v'samachta v'chagecha v'loy b'ishtecha. We spoke out in Daf Ches on the basin in the Masechta Moed Cotton. Eim arvin simcha b'simcha, right? Or that if you shouldn't leave the simcha of the moed to concentrate on the simcha of your wife. Again, this we spoke about, so you might remember it. And if you don't remember it, that's okay too. Okay, says the Mishnah. Now there's 4 scenarios, guys. You can have a guy who has a lot of kids and no money. A person has little kids and no money. A person has a lot of kids and a lot of money. A person has no kids and no money, right? There's 4 scenarios. Anyway, a person has a lot of people to eat. It's Yantif. He was oil regel. He's there with his whole family. He's got some mishpacha, and he has a lot of mouths to feed. However, he doesn't have a lot of money. So now he has 2 korbanos to bring. He can bring a shlamim and an oila. Obviously, he's not going to bring a lot of oilas because they're burnt. So he's going to bring a lot of shlamim. The Gemara is going to ask if he has no money, where do you get the shlamim from? Okay, he says maybe shlamim merubim. He brings many shlamim. For oilais muatais, and he brings few oilais because again he has mouths to feed. The oil is not feeding the mouths. Nechasim merubim v'oichlem muatim. If he has a lot of money and little eaters, maybe oilais. Then he should bring what? A lot of oilais merubais. Ushlamim muatim. After all, give more to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If he has what? Neither, not a lot of eaters nor a lot of food money. On that it says ma kesef shtei kesef, the psak of what? Of Beis Hillel. On the oil you'll spend the ma, and on the shlamim you'll pay shtei kesef. That's what Beis Hillel Beis Shammai is the opposite. Zev zem merubim. If he has a lot of eaters and a lot of money, al zenemar ish kimat nes yodai. Each person according to what the gift that is of his hand. Kibirchas Hashem lekecha shenas lach the bracha of Hashem that he gave to you. So this is the Mishnah. Yeah.
What does that last one mean? So what if he just buys whatever he wants?
He buys. He can bring a lot of oilers and a lot of shlamim. Both. You buy both. Of course. You give that Kadosh Baruch Hu, you give to yourself, you dance. Yes, you dance of Shtei Chasnas, the two Shulchanas. You can dance of your Shulchan and the Mizbeach. So you could do both. Okay, Shlomim Merubim Mehecha Maisi Halesle. What did you say? He has a lot of eaters. He has no money. So bring a lot of Shlomim. Fred the Gemara, Shlomim Merubim Mehecha Maisi. Where's he getting the money from? Halesle, he doesn't have it. Amrav Chisda, yes, he does. Teufel Umevi Par Gadol. Teufel, what does he do? Now, fellas, even if you have little free money, every person has Maisa Sheni money. Again, it's year 1, 2, 4, or 5 where you bring Maisa Sheni. So he took his crops, he redeemed it, he put the money on, he put the kedusha of the Maisa Sheni on the money. Now, so he may not have a lot of chulin, but I assume he has some Maisa Sheni money. Combine the two, he'll be able to feed. Now, what did we say he does? We says that Amar of Chisda, Teufel maybe par gadol. Does that mean he's bringing separate animals or money and money? So that's money. This is like Rabbi Yochanan and not like Chizkiah. It's good that we have one day after the other, right? So guys, this is the shita of Rabbi Yochanan. You can take money and be tofels and add the money of Meiser onto Chulin. Amar Rav Sheshes. Now listen to the way it flows. Amar Rav Sheshes. So guys, So in other words, let's put in other words in that. Buy a big animal. So what's he saying? You could be teufel money to money, right? Why didn't he say it? We're inferring it, right, guys? We're inferring the fact that he said you can buy a big animal. It must be what? That's your only option, yeah? It must be. But if that was the only option, what should he have said? Teufel mois lamois. He shouldn't have gone ahead and left it ambiguously that we have to make this inference. So that's the problem. Rav Sheshes Hari Amru Teufel behema lebehema. Said Rav Sheshes to him, it says you can go ahead. You don't have to do it in one animal. You can go ahead, spend the first animal on chulin, the subsequent animals you can go ahead and spend from Meiser. Maika Amalei, what exactly did Rav Sheshes say to Rav Chisda? Ilei mahachi kamalei Hari Amru Teufel behema lebehema. Avaloi mois lamois, v'lei malei ain't teufel mois lamois. In other words, here's what you should have said. You have a lot of eaters, you don't have a lot of money. Where do you get the money from? Teuflin. He's teufel and he buys a big animal. So if Sheshes, if he disagrees with it, he should have said, you can't do that. Ain't teuflin mois lamois. He didn't say, but that's not what he said. He said teuflin behema lebehema. So he didn't spell out his problem with him. He didn't spell out the problem with Rav Chisda. So what did he say? Ilei mahachi kamalei, that this is what he told him. Hari amru teuflin behema lebehema. Avaloi mois lamois. You can't go ahead and mix and match money. V'lei malei ain't teuflin mois lamois. Say it out. Elahachi kamalei. Here's what he said to him. You say go ahead and add on and add the money together and buy a big animal. He said, af, add one word, guys. Af. Even you could even buy other animals with you're not relegated to spending it all on one animal. You can spend the first animal chulin and all the rest you can spend on Meiser. That's what he said. So this is a third shita. Let's go over the shitas. Guys, outside. Rabbi Yochanan said, money, yes. Behema, low. Chizkiah said, behema, yes. Money, low. Now we have Rav Sheshes saying what? Not only money, but even animal. In other words, a hybrid of both of Chisda and Chizkiah and Rabbi Yochanan.
Is that because they're dealing with a knee here?
No. This is his shita. He wasn't limited. Now the problem with Rav Sheshes is he's got two brises against him. We had a brisa like Chizkiah. We had a brisa like Rabbi Yochanan. So who's Rav Sheshes coming out according to if he's both? Okay, that's going to be the shmooze. Okay, one more time, guys. Look at me. Let's get it. Let's introduce it. Okay. The Mishnah said if a guy has a lot of eaters and few less, not too much money, spend whatever money you have on shlamim. Fred Gemara, where do you get money from? After Gemara, he got it from what? From Teuflin. He got it from Maisa. What should he spend it on? Says Rav Chisda, buy one big animal. Mashma like Rav Chisda, he holds exactly like what? Like Rabbi Yochanan. Mois, yeah? Says Rav Sheshes to him, says Rav Sheshes, animal, meaning even an animal. You're not limited to buying one animal. You can use you got a lot of eaters, so buy one Shamei Chagigah from Chulin, and the rest go from Maisa. Now, so this leads to a problem, because both Rav Yochanan and Rav Chizkiah had brises. Rav Sheshes can't argue on a brise, he's an Amoira. And Rav Sheshes is saying a third shita. He said A. He said B. And Rav Sheshes is saying AB. He's saying both. That's the Gemara's problem. Says the Gemara inside. Elohachi Kamar. Hari Omru Af Toiflim Behema LeBehema. Kiman. The Loiki Chizki who said only animal. Udloik Rabbi Yochanan who said what? Only money. V'chitema you'll say Amaroi hu de pligi. You'll say the Amaroyim. They argue that Rav Chizkiah and Rabbi Yochanan umasnisan loy pligi, and the Mishnah doesn't argue. Guys, you have to go back to the Amar Aleph. Get this piece of Gemara. It's a challenging Gemara. Let's go back to the Amar Aleph. We had two brises. Let's go to the first one and the second. Tanya Kabasi Rabbi Yochanan. Okay, where that's parallel to the Taisus Amai. The second Taisus on the page, parallel to that. Tanya Kabasi Rabbi Yochanan. Misas malamit shada maybe chayvasay min achulin uminayin shemratzel la'arev ma'arev tamalay mikashi yerecha. Now, when it says ma'arev, can this possibly be speaking about animals? No. So this brisa clearly would disagree with Rav Sheshes, right? This is only speaking about animals. Now the next one, Tanya kabase de Chizkiah, Misas malamit shada maybe chayvasay min achulin. So now, maybe the second brisa means both. Maybe the second brisa is not limited to an animal. Maybe it means not only animals, but even money. And therefore, Rav Sheshes would come out according to the second brisa. However, if you medayik in the second brisa, it says achil rishona, mashma only animals. Okay, let's see it inside. So Gemara's suggestion again. Rav Sheshes has a problem. Rav Sheshes is an Amoira. He's got a Tana going against him. So we're trying to go ahead and say, Efsha, that Tana, he goes like the second brisa. So says the Gemara, this is the Lashon, Masnisan le pligi, and he would go according to the second brisa. Fred the Gemara about Ketani Achila Rishoina min Achulin, mashma only animal, Achila Rishoina. And for the Gemara, my Achila Rishona, shear the May Achila Rishona. It doesn't mean the animal itself, means the price you would have to pay for a meal, min Achulim. But in Achinami, it could be Rav Sheshes would come out according to that second brisa. Okay, so those are conclusion. We have three shittas in Teiflin, Rabbi Yochanan, money, Rav Chizkiah, animal, Rav Sheshes, both. Amar Ula, Amar Reish Lakish, Hifrish Esa Behemoth the Chagigah. You got a lot of eaters. You separate 10 animals to bring as your Karban Chagigah. Good. Hikriv Chamesh B'Yom Tavresha. You take 5 on the first day. Chayzu Makriv Chamisha B'Yom Tav Sheni. You can bring 10 the next day. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Kivan Shepasak. So once you stop the first day, Shuvein Makriv. Anything beyond will be Bal Taisif. Anything will be Bal Taisif. You have 10 animals. You bought your Chagigah on day 1. Says Rabbi Yochanan, if you bring the other ones on day 2, you'll be over on Bal Taisif. Amra Baba, V'lei Pligi. They're not arguing. Kan Bistam. When does Rabbi Yochanan say that you can't bring in the second day? That's when you said Stam. That's when you said Stam. Stam, you said that I'm bringing these kabbanis. You didn't say anything special. And I'm bringing the kabbanis, that was it. And therefore, you bought on the first day, and the second day, you can't bring them. Kam b'mafresh. You're going to say, I'm going to bring them all on the first day. So guys, if I said I'm going to bring them all on the first day, and I can't, the second day, the other, the tashlumin. This is dinner tashlumin. Let's see Rashi over here, guys. Says Rashi, Chayzu makav chamisha b'yom tov sheni. Says Reish Lakish, you're not loving Bal Taisif. Rachmana Omar, the Chagoisim Oisoi. It says you should bring the Chag Oisoi. Oisoi means one day. Chad Yuma, the Suloi. The Hanachnami Chad Yuma who is Sheni Tashlum the Rishon. What's guys? According to Reish Lakish, this is considered one day because the ones you're bringing on day number 2 are Tashlumin for day 1. You have to bring your Karban Chagigah on day 1. Chagoisim Oisoi. So how can Reish Lakish say 5 on one day, 5 on the second day? These 5 in the second day is tashlumin for the first day. That's now. When is the tashlumin for the first day? If he explained that I want to bring them all in the first day. If he didn't say I want to bring them in the first day, then it's not tashlumin, then it's a carbon by itself. But I already was yaitza, and therefore it's baltaisif. Rashi says the stam, in mifrishin stam, if you separated the animal without designation, ain't a chayzer umakrifin, you can't bring them kinefarish for also. Kan b'mefarish, Rashi says, da'ama behedya, you say openly, the yom rishon ani mafresh es kulon, for the first day, I'm separating all of them. Chayzu makrifon, you can bring them on the second day. Shein ela tashlumin rishon. These are only tashlumin of the first day. Hai stam, the armin asa, the asla hakev hepidami. Okay, we're going to see in a second. Okay, guys, outside. So what do we have? We have a case. 10 animals. You can, it says Reish Lakish, bring 5 in the first day, 5 in the second day. It says Rabbi Yochanan, if you bring 5 in the first day, you can't bring 5 in the second day. That would be Yoav and Bal Taisif. And they're not arguing. Rabbi Yochanan is describing the situation of stam, where you didn't go ahead and say I'm bringing them the first day. Reish Lakish is describing a situation where you said I'm bringing them in the first day. Since I failed to bring them in the first day, any animal subsequently that you bring is a tashlumin for the first day. If you didn't say it, then it's considered Bal Taisif. There's no machlokes. Good. Now we want to go ahead and analyze when he didn't say anything. What exactly is the mitzias that you can't bring the second day? What are we speaking about? Let's see the Gemara. Hi stam hechidami. What exactly is the case where he didn't go ahead and specify? He has 10 kabbanis. They're working hard. Comes, he bought 8. You didn't get in the other 2. Bought 5. You didn't get in the other 5. How can you can't be? Why can't you bring them on the second day? So if they didn't, in other words, that you didn't bring him is not a raya that I don't want to be Yotzei Chagigah. Physically, I couldn't do it. So why shouldn't you be able to bring the second day? It should be Bal Taisif. Even though you said stam that you're bringing them, the fact that you didn't bring them all on day 1 is not a statement that you don't want to be Yotzei. It's that I couldn't. There was no time. Let's say he doesn't have enough eaters. He thought he did, and he doesn't have enough eaters, and he doesn't need to bring the kabbanis. So therefore, again, that can't, in both these scenarios, he should not be over Bal Taisif. It's like guess what? He has both. Right? That's right. It's a new kimta. In a scenario where he said he didn't say anything, and he has enough time to bring them, and he's got enough eaters, and he doesn't, then it's Bal Taisif according to Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish. Says the Gemara. Since he didn't bring it on the first day, Shmamina, Shir Sharino, it's a leftover. He left it over, and therefore it's Bal Taisif. V'achinami mistabra. When Ravin came up, Rabbi Yochanan, he came from Eretz Yisrael and said the name Rabbi Yochanan. Hifish esa behemais l'chagigasai. A person separates 10 animals for his carbon chagigah. Hikruv chamesh b'yom tev rishon chayzer makruv chamesh b'yom sheni. So kashan adadi, guys, Rabbi Yochanan said before you can't. Here he says you could. How do you explain it? No problem. El lashma mino kan b'stam. Before when he said you can't, that's speaking b'stam. And the second brisa, the second statement of Rabbi Yochanan that says you could bring it, kan b'm mefarish, where he went ahead and said what? Bring it all on day 1. So therefore on day 2, they're all tashlum on day 1. That's good. Shmam, it's a good raya. It manami Amar Rav Shomim Baraba Amar Rabbi Yochanan Amar Aleph Loisha. No doubt that we said that I say right. You can only on one day and not more is what El Shaloi Gomar. You didn't go ahead and complete the day. Aval Gomer, if you did Aval Gomar Chayzu Makiv. My Gomar, what do you mean it's complete? Elema Gomar Makiv. If you say that what he completed his 10 kabbanis, my Makiv. What's he bringing on the second day? There's nothing to bring on the second day. El what? Shaloi Gomar Hayoim. The mean that the day didn't finish. That we said that you can't bring the second day if the day didn't finish. Aval Goma Hayom, even though he said stam and the day finished and you didn't have enough time in the day, Chayzu Makriv, you can go by and bring the kabbanis. Okay, so Bez Hashem, tomorrow morning, sometime in the morning, I don't have school tomorrow. We'll have a daf. Yeah. Bez Hashem, tomorrow we'll be in touch with everybody. Just listen to the chat. And thank you all for listening. Shabbos.